At Ohio State, chasing championships is the goal, but you live to beat Michigan.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Thursday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Jay Stevens, veteran sports talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes, and today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. During today's show, we'll discuss how Ohio State can regain control of the rivalry with Michigan, as well as if losing to Michigan can ever be erased. But first, this past year saw Ohio State win the national championship, but before that, they lost to Michigan, which made a lot of us have mixed emotions about the season and sparked a massive debate that I'm sure we'll be having all season long. What's more important, winning the national championship or beating Michigan? And recently, Will Howard and Jack Sawyer were on Ben Roethlisberger's podcast, and this topic came up on the show when Ben Roethlisberger asked this question, quote, is it okay to lose to Michigan and win a national championship, or would you rather beat Michigan and not win a national championship? What's more important, end quote. And Jack Sawyer was the first one to answer the question, and he simply said, quote, winning a national championship. And don't get, that takes no emphasis off how important the game is, end quote. And he has the correct answer. I'm not a guy that's going to ride with the guy because he's a Buckeye. No, I'll ride with you. I believe in you. But if you said something wrong, I'm going to call you for saying something wrong. But he's correct here. You play for that trophy at the end of the day. Yes, you won a pair of gold pants. I'm not taking anything away from that game. But you play at the end of the day, you know you want a shot to have to get that, put that ring on your finger. Remember, a lot of Buckeye players were there at the spring game receiving their national championship rings. Let me say that again. Receiving their national championship rings. Out of everybody in college football, 134 FBS teams, only one team gets that ring. And it's the national champion. That was the Buckeyes. They got that ring. That's what you play for. But Ohio State for years, and that was just the way the sport was made up. If you don't beat Michigan, you're not winning the national championship because you don't have a chance to do so. Well, now with the 12-team playoff, which would eventually be 14, probably 16 teams, it wouldn't shock me if it didn't get up to 20 or 24 teams because this sport is drunk and a lot of stuff is going on that doesn't make any sense. And expanding the playoff is one of those things that doesn't make any sense. Things are going to happen that are going to benefit Ohio State in a year where maybe they lose to Michigan or maybe they have 3 regular season losses. Well, expanding the playoff helped Ohio State because in any given year, up until this point, if you lose to Michigan, you're probably not making the playoff. But I say probably, there's realistically still a possibility it's going to happen. But most of the time, it's not. It's not going to. So for Ohio State, they can look at this year and say, well, yeah, we lost to Michigan. We won the national championship. At the end of the day, we're national champions. There is a monetary gain that's going to come. There are opportunities that are going to be right in front of us. There are also going to be some things we're going to receive because we're national champions. All that's great. But if I am Ryan Day, you can use this as a learning period for you as a coach. You lost. And then you won the ultimate prize. What do you need to do to make sure you win, get the pair of gold pants, and then still get the ultimate prize? Ryan, they can learn to this situation. And I know there are people out here listening to me right now or watching this right now and thinking, how in the world can you sit up here and say that beating Michigan isn't more important than winning the national championship? Put yourself in their shoes. This is the best way I can describe this. If you are a player at Ohio State, and then all of a sudden you are going into the game, you're 10-1. The loss on your record at that time was to Oregon. You're 10-1. You go into that game and you lose. You're 10-2. What does that mean? You're one of the best teams in the country, and unfortunately a loss to your rival, you still have a shot to go to the playoff. That's what that means. So no, your playoff dreams aren't crushed. You can now lose to your rival, go to the playoff. Buckeyes ended up hosting a first-round game and went on to win the national championship. Wouldn't you be fine with that if you were a player? Oh, wait, no, you wouldn't be fine with that. You would want to, let me get this correct. So if you're not fine with that, you're on the other side. You want to beat Michigan and not win the national championship. How does that sound? To me, it doesn't sound very smart. It sounds like someone has a rivalry game and a regular season game more important than a postseason game. That doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense at all. Because I am a person that even when I played football, there was a time my senior year, we lost to our rival week number 1. Now, when I played high school, everybody and their mama in the state made it to the postseason, to the tournament. If you applied and you got in automatically, cool. So we lost our rival week number 1, but we knew we would still have a shot to do something special in the tournament. Unfortunately for us at that time, we played our rival the first week of the tournament, and we lost to them again. So not only did we lose a week 1 game, but we lost the first game in the state tournament. But what did that mean for us? I don't talk about that loss in week number 1. No, I know we lost week 1. We also lost week 1 my junior year. So, I know we lost to them. Which loss hurts the most? Out of every game I played in high school, there's one loss that hurts the most. It was losing to Lawrence North High School in the state tournament, the first round of sectionals. That one stings more because it's in the postseason. It's weighted more. It means a whole lot more. I know it's May. It's getting nicer outside and all this stuff. But this is just a different landscape of college football. This isn't the 80s. This isn't even 2005. It's 2025. And in 2025, the rules of the day have changed the era, have changed the way we need to view the rivalry game. No, it is everything. You live to beat Michigan. That is not a false statement. But however, you can live to fight another day. Based off of things you do to the previous 11 games, you can still have a shot, regardless of the outcome of that game Thanksgiving weekend, to have a chance to play to be a national champion. That's the ultimate goal. That's what you're chasing every single day. Now, winning a national championship, I don't think the Buckeyes spend more time talking about that than they do beating Michigan. This still is one of the goals. Ohio State has 3 goals every year, and the first one every year, no questions asked, is beating the team up north. Number 2, win the Big Ten Conference Championship. And then number 3, win the national championship. Also, that is literally in the order of the opportunity you have to even get there. Yeah, the first game you're going to play is against Michigan. Then you'll play the conference championship game. Then you'll have a chance to play the national championship. But this is where we are right now in this sport. It may feel weird. It's weird that I'm saying this on this show, but it's real. Winning the national championship, it's what you play for. But you live to beat Michigan. Speaking of living to beat Michigan, I am starting to wonder if there are players that believe losing to Michigan can be erased. I'll talk more about that after the break. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena, and with Game Time, you can be part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually goes down as tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. One of the best things about Game Time is, as just mentioned, is their ability to help you save money on last-minute deals and help you save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, or other events near you. The all-in pricing means no surprise fees at checkout. What you see is what you pay. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON college for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank you all for tapping Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. One thing Jack Sawyer did on the show with Ben Roethlisberger was dive a little bit deeper into the game, the importance of it, how big the rivalry is, and still contrasting winning the national championship and beating Michigan. And in his thoughts about this very topic, Jack Sawyer used the word erases. It caught me off guard. And I think it might catch you off guard when you hear what Jack Sawyer had to say about this topic. Quote, obviously, the game is still going to be the game because it is the game, the best rivalry in sport. But at the end of the day, I think you'd be crazy to say that you would rather beat them and not win a national championship instead of win a national championship and not beat them. In a perfect world, you do both of those things, but obviously we didn't. But winning a national championship kind of erases all of that. For me, it does, at least, end quote. Maybe that's what it does for you, Jack Sawyer. And I can only take you at your word that winning a national championship kind of erases that loss to you. And that is for you speaking for yourself. That's great. That's your own opinion. I can't ride with that opinion, though. Absolutely not. I can't, because it's not just in me. It's the reality. The story of Jack Sawyer as a player is that Jack Sawyer doesn't have a pair of gold pants. That's what you're doing at Ohio State. You go there to beat Michigan. That's one of your goals when you're there. Yes, one of your other goals is to win a national championship. But you play Michigan in any given season before the national championship game is played. So what do you want to do? Beat Michigan every single day. You want to know somebody else that has to deal with the same reality? C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, in his story as an Ohio State starting quarterback, he never beat Michigan. Kyle McCord never beat Michigan as starting quarterback. Will Howard never beat Michigan. That's in their story as an Ohio State football player. They never beat the biggest rival that the team has. Never. Now, only one of those guys has won a national championship. That is Will Howard. So Will Howard's the only one of those guys that is, at the end of the day, able to say he lifted up the ultimate trophy, won the ultimate prize. The only one. It pains me to realize that Stroud never beat Michigan, because of those three guys, he's the most talented. And I think he might be the most talented Ohio State quarterback we've seen in a very long time, maybe ever. I know he's not the most dual threat type of guy, but when it comes to just slinging the rock, Stroud does that. He did it better than Justin Fields, Kyle McCord, Will Howard, J.T. Barrett. I mean, you got to rival with Dwayne Haskins, because Dwayne Haskins could sling that thing too. But even then, I think Stroud, as I'm saying this out loud, as I'm thinking about some throws that those guys made, I think Stroud was a more talented quarterback and did better things than Dwayne Haskins did. And now, granted, one guy played 1 year as a starter, one guy had a couple years as a starter. So it's not a true comparison, because one guy literally played more games. But Stroud's talent is insane. Yes, that's a part of his story too. But a part of Stroud's story, he never beat Michigan as a starting quarterback. Never. You know who else can erase that loss to Michigan, but wishes he could because he just won a national championship as well? Ryan Day. Because what's one part of Ryan Day's story that nobody can erase, but people wish they can erase? It's the fact that Ryan Day has only beat Michigan once. My man is 1-4 against Michigan. I had to pause a little bit because he's entering his 7th year. Could have played him 6 times. One of those games was canceled. Ryan Day is 1-4 against Michigan. Do you think Ryan Day is sitting here saying, well, winning a national championship kind of erases all of that? No, that's what Jack Sawyer's saying. Jack Sawyer is the guy that's saying, yeah, for me at least, it kind of erases that. And I guarantee there are There are a lot of Ohio State fans that can't ride with that either. And here's Will Howard on this very topic about erasing things and the importance of the game and all that jazz. Quote, and that's coming from a longtime Buckeye fan. Me just being new to the rivalry, and obviously I was a Penn State fan, so Penn State thinks that their rivals are Ohio State, and Ohio State just doesn't really see it that way. Roethlisberger kind of chimed in and said, yeah, it's like little brother. I'm kind of there with him. But Howard goes on to say this, quote, but I think that the rational Buckeye fan would say, give me the championship every day of the week. I would hope so, end quote. I mean, he's correct. You want that championship. But you can't erase the part of the story in this season that you lost. Because even that loss kind of catapulted what seemed like a team lit on fire in the playoff. Because I don't think this team, this past year's team, plays that well in the playoff if they don't lose to Michigan. Let's just say, for conversation's sake, I know it didn't happen, but you'll understand where I'm going. Let's just say the only loss Ohio State had this past year was to Oregon. They end up playing and beating Michigan, a really bad Michigan team. They go on to have a rematch with Oregon in the Big Ten Championship. You could pick the outcome of that. Let's say Ohio State wins that. Ohio State show. Let's say Ohio State wins that. What's going to happen in the playoff? I don't know if they play like they did if they beat Michigan and win the conference championship game. I don't think so. I have no idea. Why? Because their layoff would have been really, really just as long, but then you're going from playing December, 6th or 7th to playing on New Year's Day. That's a long time, man. That's a long time to not play any football. A long time. Where Ohio State played Thanksgiving weekend, had roughly 3 weeks off, then all of a sudden you're playing December 20th or 21st. That's still a long time off too, but you know you're working towards something. But also there was a meeting in there. There was a lot of intense practice in there. There were a lot of things that went down to help Ohio State run through Tennessee, run through Oregon, beat Texas and Notre Dame, and route to winning the national championship. I don't know if you get that performance if Ohio State beats Michigan this year. Story of the year. You can't erase it. You lost. That's a story. And winning the national championship doesn't erase the reality of what happened. I get why Jack Sawyer made the comment. I just can't get down with the way he views this topic. But do you get down with Jack Sawyer and how he views winning the national championship and losing to Michigan? Maybe you do, while also some of you don't get down with it. Whatever your thoughts are, put them there in the YouTube comment section. Leave a 5-star review. Make sure you leave a 5-star review and then share your own opinion because I want to hear what you got to say about this topic. While all this is a great debate to have, this does not have to be the story for next year because Ohio State can do certain things to regain control of the rivalry in 2025. This episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your parent controller, subscribe, or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, and Avowed as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. With 4K streaming, watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and more. Play high-quality Xbox games at a fraction of the cost of a console. Already have a console? A Fire TV Stick 4K device is more affordable and easier to travel with, allowing you to take your games wherever you plug in. Head to Amazon.com/FireTV locked on to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K, Fire TV Stick 4K Max first and second gen, and Fire TV Cube third gen. Thank y'all for tapping Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. all this conversation about what's more important, winning the Natty or beating Michigan, and which side you're currently on. Beating Michigan's more important, winning the Natty is more important. All that's great. It's a conversation we might have on this show over the next few weeks and months leading into the start of the upcoming year. But also, there's a time for Ohio State to look inward and say, what can we do to regain control of the rivalry? And we don't have to look any further than looking to last year's game. Because what went down in that game is still puzzling to me, and it's still one where I scratch my head. And it makes me wonder how bad Ohio State would have beat Michigan a year ago if Ohio State simply played their game. You remember the game and how many abnormal offensive play calls there were when you saw run here, run up the middle. Oh, you're going to go HB dive at the A gap on the right side. HB blast at the B gap on the left side. Oh, dive again on the right side. Oh, let's try blast in the B gap again on the right side. Oh, wait. What are you finding? You run 5 run plays and you got 3.5 yards. Why? Because you're running into the heart of Michigan's defense. Mason Graham, first round pick. Kenneth Grant, really good. Those were the 2 guys. Will Johnson wasn't even playing. So it wasn't like, hey, if we target Jeremiah Smith, their top corner is there. He wasn't on the field playing in the game. But Ohio State decided for some reason in that game to play Michigan's game and not to play theirs. And I think going forward, that should be the Ohio State's mindset in its upcoming year. In 2025's version of the game, Ohio State must play their version of football to win the game. Don't let Michigan dictate what you do on the field. You dictate, you call the shots. You make Michigan change their lineups based off who you have on the field, not you change your lineup based off who Michigan has on the field. That's not what we're about here at Locked on Buckeyes, and that's not what Ryan Day should be about either. Ryan Day has the resources, the players, the coaches to be able to call the shots in the game against Michigan. And a year ago, unfortunately, Michigan didn't really try to call the shots. Ohio State just fell into the trap and allowed Michigan to dictate what Ohio State was going to do. Learn from your mistakes, Ryan Day. Learn from your mistakes, Brian Hartline. Learn from the mistakes, all of the coaches on the team. Learn from those mistakes. Because that's one thing you got to do every single day is learn from your mistakes. Because if we were people that didn't learn from our mistakes, we would be making the same mistakes we made at 15 and 16 and 17 years old as we are 47 and 48 and 49 years old. We'll be making all those same mistakes because we didn't learn from them when we were younger. We didn't learn from them 10 years later. And we're sitting here acting like a 5-year-old when we're 50 years old because we're not learning from the mistakes we made as teenagers. You have to learn from them. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. My son is 10 months old. And while he's 10 months old, he is, as the doctors say, developing faster than some other kids his age. And so it's been fun watching him grow up and seeing every step and every milestone he reaches. But there are times you realize he's trying something new, but he makes a mistake, or he falls, or he's trying to maneuver himself around the couch while standing up on the ottoman. And the next thing you know, he's like, oh, no more couch. Where's the next surface that I could try to maneuver to? He falls. Now he's learned, he's figured out how to fall on his butt. He's figured out how to brace himself and put his hands out when he falls forward. Now, some of these falls are bad, don't get me wrong. Like he's figured out, trying to figure out how to walk and be more mobile and things like that. But it's nice and fun to see him make a mistake. Oh, man, first time he tried to do, I don't know what it was, walk around the ottoman. Yeah, he fell. What happened the next 2 or 3 or 4 times? He figured out how to fall in a better position so it didn't hurt him, even at 10 months old. And a 10-month-old needs us, as parents, my wife and I, to do things for him. He ain't about to wake up and get his own food. He is not capable of changing his own diaper. He is not capable of even getting out of his crib. I mean, he needs us. But at the same time, while he needs us, he's learning every single day and figuring things out. Ryan Day is figuring things out every single day, but he also needs the players. he also needs the coaches to help him every day to figure out, okay, this works. How can we make it better? Or how can we do it more? Okay, this didn't work. Can it be tweaked to work down the road? Or is it something that needs to be thrown in the trash? These are things that Ryan Day needs to do. And when it comes to this rivalry in particular, there are times that certain matchups are going to dictate certain play calls or things of that nature. That's going to happen no matter what. But if Ohio State in 2024 called the shots, leaned on Jeremiah Smith, leaned on Mekabuka, leaned on the elite skilled players that Ohio State had last year, if they did the things offensively they should have been doing all game long, that's no contest, man. Because Michigan's offense was atrocious. I'll forget the quarterback's name that day. He was that bad. I think he scored a touchdown. No, I don't know if he scored a touchdown or not. I know Michigan scored. It was one of the weirdest plays. It was a weird throw, I believe. But Michigan wasn't good at all. I'm not putting a loss on the defense. I remember earlier I mentioned Jack Sawyer in that game. I don't know if I mentioned it on the show or not. Jack Sawyer in that game had a phenomenal interception. Caleb Downs, phenomenal interception. The defense kept Ohio State in the game. And in any game you're playing in football, if you hold a team to 13 points, you're supposed to win the game. I don't care if you're playing Little League football or if you're playing in the NFL. If you hold somebody to 13 points, you're supposed to walk away with a W. And maybe if you're a Jameis Winston fan, you're eating that W as you walk back into the locker room after the game. But Ohio State, for some odd reason, decided to not do what they should have been doing. Some say Chip Kelly wasn't calling plays that day. Some say he was. I'm not here to say who did or didn't call plays. All I'm sitting here is saying you can learn from the mistakes from a year ago. And you have to learn from those mistakes. You also have to realize you can dictate the terms of the game. It's just like when you go up there to buy a car and you think you are able to dictate the terms to the bank of the car loan. No, you can't. Now, a bank may have a special, or the bank of a dealer might, of a particular brand, may have a special, like to get 0% or 1.9% or 0.9%. But who dictates those? Even when they have those special plans, what happens? They may cap you on how long the loan can be. 0% for 60. You can't do 0% for 72. That's a 0.9 comes in. You say, well, no. I want 0% for 72. And the banker is going to say, or the sales manager is going to say at the dealership, sir, man, that's not an option. You got 0% for 60. You got 0.9 for 72. Those are the best deals you can get on this car. But also, you got to qualify for them. And now that things get a little tricky when you sell a car, because someone comes in, man, oh, man, I heard you got 0% on the new Ultima. I remember when I sold cars. That was one thing that got a lot of people in the door. 0% on that new Ultima, man, let me get that thing right now. Next thing you know, they want to go 72 months. Well, that's where the 0.9 comes in. You're thinking, 0.9% is nothing to really scoff at. Yeah, no one wants to pay interest. But really, if you're going from 0% to 0.9, I'm not complaining. I'm taking that deal every day of the week and twice on Sunday, because even if you go to 72, you can pay it in 60 or pay it in 55 or pay it in 52 months with no prepayment penalty. All those things are true. But also, what do you got to realize? Who is dictating the terms of the loan? The bank, not you. And Ohio State needs to have that same mindset when the Buckeyes play the Wolverines in Ann Arbor in the fall. Dictate the terms of the game. Don't let the Wolverines dictate the terms of the game. The Buckeyes dictate the terms of the game. Ohio State has a better roster. Ohio State has a better coaching. It's possible the NCAA will bring down the hammer on Michigan, and their own head coach might not be there. If he is or if he isn't, it does not matter. You must dictate the terms of the game, because Ohio State's good enough to do it. They should do it every single game they're playing. And when they do that, we see what happens. They win the national championship. Thank y'all for tapping Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the portal. Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the portal and find Locked On Buckeyes on the YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. It says on Locked on Buckeyes right here on a Thursday. We'll see you next time.